Hi, I'm Paul Abling with Walking Mountains Science Center, and I'm here today with Kathy Schneider, a behavioral health specialist here in the Eagle River Valley. And today we're going to talk about something that is very prevalent in our community, but not a lot of people know what it is. It's called climate anxiety. It is a feeling, it has a name, and Kathy, could you talk a little bit about what climate anxiety is and how people might be experiencing it?
Sure thing. Climate anxiety is a multifaceted, multidimensional issue. Like you said, it does have a name. It definitely is anxiety, which is kind of this feeling of dread or a feeling of concern, worries for the future, all of that. We might feel that individually. We also might feel that kind of concern for future generations, perhaps our children. We also might feel it for our community. But it's also a fear. It can also be a sense of grief and loss about my favorite hiking trail was impacted by a fire. That can impact our collective identity, but it can also impact our identity as an individual. So there is this grief, there is this sadness too about what are we as collectively as humans doing? What am I doing? What's the impact I can make? And that can sometimes lead to a sense of helplessness or hopelessness and this overwhelm that we don't really know how we can make a change on a small scale or on a large scale. But a lot of that really does come down to anxiety, that fear, that worry. So climate anxiety is a very, very real thing.
And Kathy, do you notice climate anxiety being more prevalent in a certain age range here locally?
Not necessarily a specific age range. So I see little kids all the way up to older adults, parents, individuals all along the way. And it has come up in every single demographic that I've seen. Not necessarily as a specific, I'm coming to therapy to talk about climate anxiety, but it's come up in so many smaller ways around, this is what I do for fun, or the fire has impacted my breathing, or I'm really worried about this news article that I read and I don't know how to make sense of it. But I do see it quite a bit in, I would say, younger adults and our teenagers, especially the 15 to 25 range, because they are talking about it more in school and hearing about it more, and they are potentially more engaged to what this looks like on a global news level. So I'm seeing it pretty consistently throughout.
And do you have any recommendations what we can do at home or at work to talk about this? Like, is there a way to talk about it with our colleagues and our families?
Absolutely. There are so many local impacts that this has had on our community and on us as individuals. We could talk about driving through Glenwood Canyon and what we see now. We could talk about what happened at Hanging Lake. We can talk about, I read an article about the water level in Lake Powell and how this is going to impact us. It is a very local issue, and so you can simply bring up, I read this interesting news article, or I went for a hike the other day, and this is what it looked like in the burn area. So there are ways you can bring it up at the dinner table, if you are grabbing a drink with a friend, at work. These are all ways to help each individual remember that this is not a single issue. You're not the only person who's feeling this anxiety or fear. It is a community issue. It is a family issue. It is collective. And so just simply bringing it up will help you to feel and remember, I'm not alone in this. And to realize that this is very much a shared feeling. And there are many ways we can not only talk about it, but there are other impacts we can have on our community too, that we can figure out what can we do. And I'm hoping, Paul, maybe you could share some ideas with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important really to recognize that all of your little actions, even if they seem little, add up. Anything you can do that's within your means is important, and don't downsize that importance. Download the Eagle County Waste Wizard. It'll tell you the right way to recycle based on what town you're in. If you can compost, that's a great small thing we can do. Get an energy audit at your home or your business. Figure out where you can save, time, money, and resources on energy. The big thing locally, I think, for our local emissions is try to drive less, which is hard. But take your bike to work from home.
Carpool.
Take the bus. Emissions from transportation is a challenge. If you have the means to get an electric vehicle, that's fantastic. But not everybody does. So just take little steps every day and be proud of the steps that you take.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to realize that those little steps really add up, and they help you to feel a sense of control about the impact that you can have. And also remembering that when you do feel overwhelmed, those small impacts are beautiful. We can't necessarily change the entire world, right? We can't necessarily have a global impact. And that's where sometimes that feeling of dread or doom comes in. So refocusing on taking a breath, refocusing on recycling that can, refocusing on scheduling a carpool ride with a friend. That is a way that we can just check in with ourselves and kind of bring that anxiety level down.
Absolutely. I think one other thing is it's okay to take a break. Take a break from doom scrolling on social media or from reading the latest climate news. Climate's not going anywhere. If you need to take a break and go for a hike and reconnect with the world around us, that's okay. Do whatever you need to do to reconnect with the world around us and just feel good about where we live.
Absolutely. Get outside and take a really big breath.
Well, thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Paul.